Yeah, just after that, just say my name. I'm Andrew. And then
Okay. Let me go. Okay.
Go.
What up, world?
Hello,
What up,
everyone,
people?
and welcome to the Movie Gods podcast.
Welcome, world. We are the movie gods. We've been discussing this for a long time, and we decided to try it. We are five guys that discuss movies, pop culture, general topics. But yeah, we center ourselves around movies. We're the movie gods, and this is our first podcast. Hopefully, the first of many to come. And my name is Andrew.
Ina.
you can't see me, but I'm here. Muso.
Josh,
And our fifth member, Mr. Naftali, he's not around, but you'll be seeing him in the future.
Something I want to address quickly is just maybe for the audience that we're all in different places. I'm in Windhoek, like some other part of Windhoek. Andrew's in another part of Windhoek. Josh is all the way in the north, and Musa is all the way in Zambia. So we're like all over. So that's why we're doing it like this. And you will hear some delays and like the audio will sound a bit shoddy and stuff. But yeah, we're trying to make it work. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. For our first episode, we are going to be talking about the big topic, the big movie that dropped. That's Zack Snyder's Justice League, something that fans have been crying about, basically begging the studio to release it, and it got such a big push from everyone to the point that the studio had to listen. This is the first time, I believe. There've been other director's cuts before, but this is the first time something of this nature has been done within Hollywood. Even all the way here in Africa, in Asia, across the world, people have been begging for the movie, and they finally got it. Something that's never been done before.
Considering everything that has happened, can we really consider it a director's cut? Because it's literally that, like, that was the movie that was supposed to be done.
Yeah. It's what Zack Snyder says is that I was listening to an interview of his, is that it's a director's cut in the sense that, is this the movie that he wanted to make from beginning to end? Yes. Is this the movie that he was going to make if he had to release it, if nothing had ever happened in 2017? No Joss Whedon, no studio interruption or whatever, or at least some studio interruption, but not to that degree. Was this the movie that he was going to put out in 2017 in the movie theaters? No, he was not going to put out a 4-hour movie in movie theaters. So it's not a director's cut in that sense, but it's a director's cut in the sense that this is what he actually wanted to put out. Okay. Yeah.
I think, that's where my conflict is with this whole thing, because what happened was very tragic, but then were we ever going to see this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Good point.
should we be thanking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We may have never seen what we saw. So there's
Yeah.
that thing at the back of my head that's like, yeah, it's bittersweet in the sense that we get 4 hours of, Justice League, his vision.
Is it possible? I don't know. Is it possible that a shorter version of this movie could have been even better?
No.
A shorter version of that movie maybe becomes more palatable for a wider wider audience.
What I think is that I don't think that the cut, like, say he had gone ahead and made his original cut, I don't think it would have been as good as this 4-hour cut. What our general feelings are around the movie itself, now that you watched it, I think some of us have watched it twice. Yeah. What's your general feelings about the movie itself?
It's the best DC movie that has come out.
Yeah.
Hands down for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're including Watchmen in these. I don't think it's that close. For me, they're two completely different movies. One is very sci-fi political, and one is just, a pure comic book movie. And I lean more towards, although I love Watchmen, and Watchmen for me personally has kind of shaped my views on the world. It had a bigger impact on me, but purely as a fun comic book movie. Being a fan of these characters, it has to be the best for me. For me, that is. So that's my general like feeling about this movie.
So you think it was worth the wait?
It was a painful wait, but yeah.
Okay, first of all, I kind of disagree with Josh. I was just thinking about, I remember last time we discussed this, we said that Justice League is better than Watchmen. But think about this. Think about when Watchmen was made. There was no movie like it then. Without Watchmen, you don't get Justice League at all. And there have been several movies which they have tried something similar, but for me, I think it's like comparing The Matrix with anything that has come afterwards. It's difficult to compare. But if we are discussing the DC universe as we have it right now, yeah, Justice League trumps it. And what I loved most about that movie is it made BVS make sense, Batman versus Superman. And I have to watch Man of Steel again because the trilogy is complete, and everybody that doubted Zack Snyder's version of those two movies, once they watch this, they finally understand like the whole picture of what he was trying to do. That's the one thing I love about this. Like it brought everything together. Everything that he was trying to communicate in Justice League, he finally did it. So yeah, and I'm hoping that there are more movies. Definitely, probably the best superhero movie I've watched. Probably the past 3 years. I don't know when was the last time I watched anything this good.
Was it worth the wait? I agree. I think so. And I agree with Josh saying, like, Watchmen in my books was like the best comic book or superhero movie made, period. Like, everything that came after, came before, like, did not touch Watchmen because it was gritty. It had its own style, and it wasn't afraid to tell a story that like conventional Hollywood was afraid to tell. So I enjoyed Watchmen. But Justice League, to me, was like an experience, man. Like there were scenes in there that I was like geeking out and like, oh my God, this is what reading like those comic books felt like. So yeah, it felt like it was a proper experience. So like in my opinion, I think I can't say it's better than better than Watchmen, but Watchmen is its own thing, like Musso said. So it's like comparing everything to The Matrix. But if I put Watchmen aside, Justice League is the best comic book superhero film I've watched.
I
think just to...
Yeah? Go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say, in terms of
okay,
I definitely think... I definitely think that's hilarious. I definitely think that the movie was worth the wait. In terms of like where I rank, like for me, Man of Steel was my favorite comic book movie over Watchmen, over Dark Knight, over like everything. And the reason I have that is because like the first superhero movie I ever watched as a kid was the first Superman movie. And then I think it played the same night or 2 nights in a row on NBC with Superman 2. That back when NBC was like proper. And I remember just that feeling of awe as a kid, getting it when I was watching Man of Steel. It's like the first time I got that feeling of awe as a kid. Like I didn't get it with Avengers. Like it looked nice to watch, but I didn't get that feeling of like I'm a kid again. Like watching Superman fly and just the way he felt broken in that movie. Like he felt distant from the world. I didn't get that feeling in a lot of other superhero movies. Of course, Watchmen is like a gritty presentation of like this is what your heroes would actually look like if they were real people. They would smoke, they would take bribes, they would like, this is it, and why I love that movie. The first time I watched it, I just thought it was boring, and then I had to grow up a little bit to properly understand Watchmen, and it's still in my top 3, but yeah, that's
Watchmen would be what comics would look like if DC wasn't trying to sell comics to kids.
Watchmen is actually a graphic novel.
Yeah, I do think we are doing Justice League a disservice in the sense that it wasn't just like it wasn't bubblegum. It had depth.
Yeah.
Compare Age of Ultron with Watchmen.
No, we can't.
No, we can't do
Let's
We
not
can't.
get into. I mean, those are. Yeah.
We're gonna piss off some Marvel fans, which we are as well in some instances. But yeah,
I mean, just a disclaimer.
this movie wasn't as, for example, like BVS had a lot of. It had to be dark, but it also had a lot of depth. Like when you look at the amount of research that the writer had to do for BVS, like when you look at comparing what Superman did in Man of Steel, Superman and Zod, that fight, comparing that to 9/11 and the fallout of 9/11 and how, you know, a lot of like there was a lot of depth in BVS that I wouldn't necessarily say that Justice League was as deep, but it also, like when you look at the relationship between Cyborg and his dad, the thing that kept spurring Batman on to for his mission, so there was a lot of things that I still think like the movie was still it wasn't bubblegum in that sense. Yeah, but let's talk about your expectations for the, like when you heard that Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, was made official and it was coming to HBO Max. Like I'm sure there was something in the back of your head that was like, I wonder how is that going to be, versus when you actually sat down and watched the movie. What did you think?
I think my expectations started from when I heard there was a Snyder cut. And everyone's saying that, no, we've seen it. I mean, the actors say, no, we've seen this cut. It exists. We all thought, like, we had hopes that it was real, but I don't think everyone believed it was real or it existed. We thought maybe at least I did, thought like, maybe it's just a thing they're saying so that he can get to finish his film or whatever. But when I heard the cut existed, I expected it to be obviously better than what we saw in, was it 2017, the Joss Whedon version. But I was pleasantly surprised. He exceeded the expectations in terms of depth. Like, he told us Cyborg was the heart, but oh my God, we had no understanding of how much of the heart this guy was. And the action, he took it to the next level. We liked the fight in Smallville from Man of Steel, but like in this one, he just... So in my opinion, he... Like, I had no idea how amazing it was going to be, but yeah, he exceeded my expectations. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be good. That's the thing. This is Zack Snyder we're talking about. I mean, the guy gave us Man of Steel, and he gave us BVS. You know
And
what
Watchmen.
I mean? I knew it was going to be good. If you have that on your, what you call it, you filmmakers, filmography, if you have that on, I mean, so I knew it was going to be good. I don't think he exceeded my expectations in that sense. I think I was more so just really excited about where the story went. Because remember when his cut, when all that stuff happened, and you know, when the studio was messing around with BVS and all that stuff, we already knew at the time that he wasn't going to put his vision across for what he actually wanted. He even spoke about this. So for him to get the chance to do this, it's like someone telling you like, okay, we've been interrupting you, we've been messing about with your stuff, and now here you go. Just get your cut out and do whatever it is you want. And it was, I knew it was going to be good. I really did. It's more so the excitement for where the story went and where we are with the story right now. So
I didn't know how much of the movie we had already seen. But the one thing is, we waited 3 years, so the initial experience wasn't that fresh in your mind. So when you watch it again, it's almost like a whole new movie. But even when I watched it, the storyline is completely different. Yes, the boxes are there, but it's a completely different story. It's what Zack Snyder did. He managed to create a purpose for every single character. Like, you had a reason for why the characters were doing what they were doing. And as a result, it made it a completely different movie and a completely different experience. So that's the one thing I like. Okay, yeah, but I'm done. Yes, that's the main part.
Yeah, for me, I think I agree with what Musa was saying in terms of when you think about it, it's pretty much the same movie. The beats are similar. The what you call the act one, act two, act three. It hits certain very similar or exactly the same notes, but the way the movie is crafted feels like it's a completely different movie. The only thing that's completely different, like 100% different, is Cyborg story. That one was completely just taken out, and that's it. But when you look at like certain like Aquaman's story, that were changed, that changed the characters. Can you guys? Am I cutting?
No, you're good.
Huh? What's happening? Am I cutting?
You're good.
Yeah, start from Aquaman.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Sometimes it's just funny. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's funny. I can't help it.
Yeah, like Aquaman's story. Start from there.
Yeah.
Okay. There are certain things that Joss Whedon tweaked that makes it a completely different movie. Like in Joss Whedon's cut, they're still at the same place. They're still doing the same things like when they went underground, under the water. They still are doing the same things, but in Joss Whedon's cut, Flash is like, no, I don't know anything, guys. What? But in this one, he's like, he's even the first one to jump across the bridge, the broken bridge, and he's the one that's like, guys, we're not together. Like what are we doing? And then there's that part where he just passes and he's saving everyone from the falling debris. So it's like, now imagine like that, but stretched out across 4 hours. So that all of that makes the movie like completely different. So yeah, no, it definitely in terms of my expectations, what I was expecting a completely different movie in the sense of like the plot, because we were told this is going to be 4 hours. So we're comparing that 2 hours to 4 hours. So I thought there's some things where they're just going to do that are completely different. But in that sense, it's not the same movie, but it's the same movie. Let's look at the plot and the characters. Obviously, we said that Cyborg was the one who was the most affected in terms of when you look at his story, actually realizing that this is basically a cyborg movie that has Superman coming back to life. Like when you actually think about it, it's that kind of, he's the one who knows the most about, aside from Diana, he's the one who knows the most about or interacts the most with the mother boxes. It's him that separates them, and a lot of the movie has to deal the emotional stuff of the movie from the hero side is told from Cyborg's perspective. So in that sense, he is the heart of the movie, basically. Go ahead.
I think for me, Cyborg is the heart of the movie. I think for me, the man, that guy can act. I didn't know he was that good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really didn't know he was that good. For me, it's Cyborg. It's also Batman, not in the sense of the performance but you could see the character development. I think he has the best arc from
he
these
does.
movies. His arc is ridiculous, you know. So I think for me it was those two. Cyborg, obviously for this movie specifically, he's definitely the heart of the movie. But Batman and his arc and the journey he's taking throughout these movies is something special. And it's quite sad that we won't get to see. We don't know, but the Batman solo we were supposed to see. I mean, it's a shame that we may not get to see that.
I find it interesting that I think in both movies are Batman movies. Batman versus Superman and Justice League, like he's the main protagonist of both stories. Like the story goes around him. Even in Batman versus Superman, you don't get to see a lot of Superman as Superman. You get to see Superman from almost like a third party. You never get to see Superman from his perspective. I'm trying to remember when I saw Superman. I don't think
you
so.
You do see him, but it's about him. It's about Batman's grievance with with Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ina.
What's the question?
We're talking about in terms
Done.
of the plot and the characters. So basically, talking about what's your take on how the plot fleshed out, and so what are some of the characters that stood out for you?
I don't have a. I don't think I have a particular character. I really appreciated how, because unlike Avengers, he didn't get the time, or like 20. How many movies are there? Is it 22 or like all those movies?
The Marvel movies.
Yeah, the Marvel movies. So like 20 something, the 20 something odd movies. Zack never had that to build up the Justice League, but in the 4 hours he had, we were invested in each character, in Aquaman, in Diana, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Superman, the Flash. Yeah, so I think he fleshed out all the characters amazingly. My favorite character was the Flash, because he was the levity, like in the film, but he didn't feel overdone. It was a good balance. Like he brought, I guess, humor or whatever to the film. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed him. And plot wise, yeah, it really feels like a completely different movie from what Joss made.
Yeah.
Like we had all these. There was obviously there's like the line going through the whole thing that was similar to Joss's version, but you had all these beautiful branches, like with Cyborg's story, with Aquaman not wanting to be king or whatever, and then like it's annoying how they cut out that whole bit with what's her name,
Mira.
Mira, yeah, yeah. They cut out a lot of good stuff. So plot wise, I think the movie was perfect. I did take issue with Darkseid forgetting where he where he left the mother boxes
Yeah.
and where Anti-Life was.
Yeah.
But apparently when they flew away, they forgot to mark it,
Yeah.
and there's all these universes, and they got lost. They were just running home.
That was the one plot hole. Actually, I was like, how did this guy forget where he left the boxes, and how did he forget the planet? Like, he needs to explain that, because I actually don't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we don't know how the guy got defeated, right? We don't know.
He was cut in the shoulder.
Well, we know. What do you mean?
My thinking is that it's not necessarily that he forgot, but he left with his tail between his legs, and he went off, and he didn't know exactly what world that was on. It's not a perfect explanation, because I do think they should have taken a little bit of time to either not have him discover the anti-life,
Yeah.
but explain it in a different way. Say, make him aware that no, there's anti-life somewhere, but make him not know that anti-life is necessarily on Earth. But the fact that he hit the ground and he discovered anti-life, and now on his quest to conquer the world, he gets defeated and goes back, and then doesn't know where that world is. It's still a bit like okay, but I'm like, look, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Like it's one of those, what do they call it? Suspension of disbelief, sort of, I guess, to an extent. But it doesn't ruin the experience for me.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin it.
Yeah. I'm okay with saying, yeah, this guy has conquered so many worlds on different multiverses that he just can't keep track of.
100,000 to be exact.
Yeah. And the idea that he's basically sent who's this guy, Steppenwolf, to, without telling him what he's looking for, he sent him to look for it, because he doesn't want to tell him, so that he takes the thing that he's looking for. So yeah.
I don't think it's not that he forgot, like, oh, it's not necessarily in the sense that, oh, I forgot. Like, you will remember where you got beaten. That's just,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter who you are. That's the one time you lost, and you will remember where it is you got beaten. You got beaten, right? I think it's more in the sense of, remember, when he was defeated, he wasn't Darkseid yet. Yeah?
Yeah, he was success.
Yes, he wasn't Darkseid yet. Then he got defeated. Then he decided to leave. Went on conquering, worlds and whatever. But you will still remember, like, hey, you know what? I remember. It's not like it's more in the sense of you. How do I say this? It's not that you forget, right?
Yeah,
But it's more in the sense of you may lose. It's like you just lose connection with the play. Remember, he came with the mother boxes. The mother boxes were the one connection to what did they say? The mother boxes were calling out to them,
yeah,
right? So the mother boxes are now on Earth. They are no longer functioning or they're no longer working. There's no, it's laughing. There's no there's no communication between Apocalypse or whatever and the mother boxes. You go off, you are conquering worlds. You just know that I got dulled one time there by one of those planets, but
yeah,
it's not. I'm not looking to go back.
yeah.
And anti-life is the number one thing, but you also had the number two thing. You lose the number two thing. You don't know where. Maybe I sound like I'm making excuses.
No, but I think
I don't know.
but I think
It's not a big deal.
that he says that in the movie, I found the lost world, which is Earth, where anti-life is. So he lost the world. But I'm saying they could have explained how did he lose the world. Yeah, it explains in the movie, like to sort of cover it, just to
Yeah.
say, oh, I found the
Yeah,
lost
I think
world.
we agree on that.
Yeah, so we can, yeah, so but he's lost the world. How did he lose the world? So we can all agree that that could have been done a little bit better. But just to move on, the gentlemen, the movie is 4 hours long. Could he have trimmed it down to 2.5 hours or 2 hours like the studio wanted?
Okay, I think we could have done without a lot of the. Yes, the epilogue I think was unnecessary. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Batman and Joker, but it was unnecessary.
I agree.
He said the only reason he
Yeah.
put that in the movie was because he if this was going to be the one time he got to make the final time he got to have these characters in his hands, he felt like it was on his part it would be a disservice to never have had Joker and Batman interact. So he was like, I'm going to do, I know it maybe doesn't fit, but I'm going to just do it anyway and put it in there. And that's why he put it as an epilogue, which I'm fine with. But I agree with Muso. I think that because it's about what, like 5 or 6 minutes or something. I think that could have been taken out of the movie. I don't know what else you could take after that.
I think it had to be that length because I will say it again. Unlike Marvel, where they had 23 movies to like build all these characters, we had one movie to like find out who Cyborg is, to find out who. I think if Aquaman had. I think Aquaman came out after the Justice League. I mean, the initial Justice League. Yeah, so we had to know who Aquaman was. We had to know who the Flash was. So it's a lot to sort of to cram into 2 hours. So we needed the 4 hours. Was it a mission to watch? Yes, but we needed that time to be able to execute a movie where you have more than two superheroes coming together. So
Yeah.
For me, it was the quickest 4 hours of my life in terms of movies. I've never watched a movie that long, that quickly, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just to add on to what Ina said, that history lesson was special because in one history lesson, we got to know about basically the whole, almost like the reason why Steppenwolf it was very different to Joss's version, why Steppenwolf was there, and we got to know why Darkseid, was there, what he found, etc. And that's where they could have told us this is how he lost the planet with the anti-life. But I still think like the 4 hours was definitely, I don't see how you could have cut down on all these, stories and them make the sense that they did. I think it's the first 4-hour movie I've watched, to be honest. I can't remember.
I don't think
Was
there is a
Watchmen
4 hour
4 hours?
movie.
The
I don't
uncut.
think there is a 4 hour movie.
Seven Samurai is 4 hours.
That doesn't count. That's not our generation.
Yeah, I guess Return of the King. Return of the King is 4 hours and like 20 minutes. The
Is it?
extended version.
Okay,
Not the cinema
extended.
version, the extended version. Yeah. I think the cinema version, the theatrical version is maybe like 3 hours on the dot, or maybe 2 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, 50 minutes. But it's yeah. But yeah, I think there's little scenes like when Aquaman is going into the water and those people start worshiping and singing hymns. I think that you could have cut.
Yeah.
You could have cut out the when he saves that guy and goes and gets his whiskey and says it's on the guy, and then he goes into the back into the sea, and that's where he has the scene with Valko and what where he's saying I don't want to be the king. I think you could have cut that out, but I don't think
I think it's one
you
of
can't make it a
those.
2 hour movie. You can't make it a 2 hour movie at all. Just like Inai saying,
I think it's one of those things, right?
And then she picks up his clothes and starts smelling. Like, why? What are you doing? It was nonsensical.
He's a god.
Yeah.
No, man. Like, oh, fine, he's a god. We establish he's a god. They've done carvings. Let them make an idol of him or something. You've conveyed the message. Finished. They worship the idol. You don't need people singing and the camera is slowly panning as she's walking. I thought something significant was going to happen, but it was just them worshiping him and then her lusting over his jersey.
the difference between the two cuts. Let's not spend too long on this, but yeah. For me, I would say that the things that were in Joss's cut that I liked were basically just things from this cut that survived. The part about Superman fighting them and then his head tilting towards Flash. The Amazons, but then he did it stupidly, but it's still that scene of them fighting the Amazons in Themyscira, Steppenwolf fighting the Amazons, all that was brilliant. So there's that scene where like Aquaman was sitting on the lasso and then he's going around saying like, oh, you are the, you guys remember that scene?
Everyone remembers that scene.
Talks about how hot Wonder Woman is and he wants to smash her or something. So it's like it's inappropriate, but I guess it was a funny scene.
Yeah.
It's not a Zack scene, it's just a scene. But it's like when you think about it, you're like every other person, like he's saying Batman is rich, Flash he can run fast, what, Cyborg, what, but when it comes to Wonder Woman, she's hot. Like it's like, yeah, it's my guy. Like it's 2017. You know, there's a meme movement going on. Chill out. Like, okay. But yeah, I think honestly that's the only thing I can say I splatters and there is a did I cut? It's saying here that I lost my connection.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. We missed the bit after the 2017.
Where's Muso? Okay. Can I go again?
Yeah, go again.
I'm here, dude.
Lost my connection it's trying to reconnect. Can I go?
Yeah.
I was saying, yeah, like I think that's the only scene that I like. Even the way the movie starts for me, like with the Parademon's blood having paintings of the mother boxes. It's such a stupid thing. Yeah, it's such a stupid. And then the rubber on the rooftop and he's jumping like it's like it's yeah.
Can we discuss that quickly? How I'm saying, I'm just trying to get into the mind of Whedon. How do you explain the Parademon like exploding on the wall with the blood and then the mother boxes like how?
Honestly, I don't think he was checking Zack. He wasn't rating the guy. He was just like,
it makes him, he might not check Zack, but it makes him look dumb. Like
do you think Joss took that movie seriously? Do you think he was proud of the final product?
No, I don't think it did. No.
Yeah, so there you go.
So he was just trolling the guy, like, yeah, I'm putting mother boxes in the blood.
Because I explained it.
He got out a scene that was explaining mother boxes from Wonder Woman's perspective. Like in the Snyder cut, Wonder Woman is the one who knows that the scene where she goes underground.
Yes.
And she finds out about the mother boxes, and then she remembers her past and
Yeah.
what. Then she comes to explain to Batman about mother boxes. I think he cut out that scene, so he was like, fine, if we're cutting out that, because I think it's about maybe 5 minutes. So it's like, if we're cutting out that 5 minutes, which is what explains what mother boxes are, then we have to quickly have a scene that just explains what mother boxes are, and it's like it's in the blood system.
Blood, like parademons, like carry.
Which doesn't make sense because parademons aren't even connected to mother boxes.
Yeah.
Like they explained in the movie, like there were citizens. I mean, there were just people. And when Darkseid came, took over the planet with his what, they turned into servants, or they turned into his what. So how in the world can like they carry mother? Like I don't know. That was
Yeah, no. What did you like anything about Joss's movie, Whedon's movie?
It had nice jokes.
With jokes.
I can't remember, but wait. I remember that one. What you? I do not like you.
Oh God.
Oh my god.
God.
Like, okay, I think that's the dilemma that WB was in. They stopped trusting their own formula, and they wanted to be something that they're not. Once you do that, they didn't even know what was okay, what was even right. Like everything I hate about Wonder Woman comes from that era of trying to be Marvel.
Yes.
Like all the awkward jokes in all the movies they have created. What was that? Were they eating flowers? Yeah, they eat the flower eating, and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. It's just one WB trying to be the Marvel Studios. And the sad part is, look, Spider-Man is light-hearted, a kiddies movie. Like when he makes jokes, you expect it because you kind of have watched the cartoons and they were very light. But if you bring that into like, it was just awkward and uncomfortable to see Batman try and make jokes.
Because it's not him.
Exactly.
The characters we saw in Justice League were like completely different to their solo movies. It's just weird. The whole thing was like the Wonder Woman you see in you cannot even, it's not the same. It's like you're watching two different versions of this same character. It was the weirdest.
Yeah, it was.
It was strange to watch.
I really
Like
liked Aquaman movie. I think I'm one of the only one here. I might be the only one who liked the movie Aquaman. But the parts that I hate about that movie are the
We liked it.
Okay. The things that I hate about that movie, like that flower scene, which doesn't make sense because they have flowers in the ocean. Like they have plants in the ocean. So why would she be eating a flower on land? It doesn't make sense. Your favorite scene, everybody, and the part that you didn't like. Let's start with Muso.
Probably when they went to save the Cyborg's father. I think the action in that was...
Josh?
I loved like Steppenwolf in this. So that whole story was nice. The fact that he wanted to redeem himself. The fact that Desad didn't believe a word he was saying. Something like Steppenwolf betrayed the guy. Betrayed them. So it's just funny. Like I really enjoyed the whole dynamic between Steppenwolf, Darkseid, and Desad. That whole thing was cool to see. Like Steppenwolf cannot just go to Darkseid, or he cannot just say, "Hey, I want to speak to Darkseid." That was cool.
Yeah.
Desad cracked me up because Desad just doesn't want to get in trouble for anything because he knows it might be like his head might go. That's how serious it is, you know.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like making sure Steppenwolf has all the boxes, he wants to really make sure before he can go report anything. When it comes to Steppenwolf saying, "I found the world which you lost with the anti-life," my guy's like, "Yeah, okay, just chill. Wait 1 second. Let me go call the man. You tell him yourself. I don't want I don't want any problems." Although we go on about the score. I mean, Junkie XL is amazing. What he did was amazing. In every scene, these guys had their own theme music, and it just made sense for these scenes. But I did not like the cry, the Wonder Woman cry. It took me out sometimes.
Yeah. I think it was too much,
The war cry.
Which war cry?
Like, sometimes it took me out of the... I didn't like it that... I'll be honest, I did not like it that much. It didn't
Yeah.
irritate me to the point where I'm like, but I didn't like it. I didn't really like that war cry, Amazonian war cry thing every time. Like, when she was chopping off the guy's head and then the the war cry came on. It was a bit. I'm not a fan of the war cry. It's not my. No, I didn't like it. It's one thing I didn't like. Unlike Muso, I loved 4 hours. You could give me 5. I don't care.
You know?
Before I give my point, I want to address that 4 hour thing. That's probably, I think personally, something he needs to address. Because I think as creatives, like you always get you get a brief and then you get the time, or you get the constraints you have to work within. You can't now, like if you have to do a commercial and it's you have 30 seconds on TV, you can't now cry for like, no, but I want 3 minutes. It's like you have 30 seconds and you have to tell your story within that time. So the 4 hours is fine, it works well, but for future, there's a reason movies aren't that long. People can't consume that much. So you can have your vision, you can have your grand ideas and stuff, but you have to figure out, that's part of being a creative, working out the creative solution to this problem now. Like you can't have a movie that's 4 hours, like you can't make another 4 hour movie.
But I do think you are right. I think he needs to plan from the beginning that this is going to be a 2 hours and 30 minutes movie. But I do think there's an exception to Justice League because he's introducing so many characters. That doesn't necessarily Marvel formula isn't necessarily the only one. You can still do exceptions like this. You can have your 3 hour movie where you introduce, because now you can do another Flash movie without having to redo his origin. You
Yes.
just give his origin in flashbacks.
My favorite part of the movie has to be, I have two parts. It's the Superman scream at the beginning. That was just glorious. That the sound design, like the waves of the voice, just like traveling as Superman dies. Like it's such a big moment, and Zack made it a big moment. Second favorite was Flash when Cyborg failed to defuse the boxes or to separate the boxes, and then the thing explodes, and then Flash like has to think quick, and almost freeze time because like I think he reaches out his hand and like that was amazing because that's the stuff we read in the comics and we're like, oh my god, if they ever did this on film, this would be amazing. And I think they did it in the cartoons as well, where he had to run around the world or something. No, for me that scene was just like every geek's dream. What I didn't like about the movie, if I was being honest, is just that mother box and Darkseid him forgetting. Like it just felt like a big plot hole. But yeah.
For me, favorite part is Themyscira, when Steppenwolf lands in Themyscira. Like I was such a huge fan of 300 like years ago. I still am, but like when I first watched that movie, there's a scene where Leonidas goes up to meet with one of the other Greek guys, and the guys were disappointed that like, why did you bring so few people? Like we brought such a huge army to help you defeat Xerxes, but the guys that you brought are so few. And then Leonidas asked the guy like, you, what's your profession? The guy's like, I'm a potter. You, what's your profession? I'm a farmer. Then he turns back and he's like, what? Spartans, what's your profession? It's like, oh. that like just that whole, like, it's not Lord of the Rings necessarily, but it's like within that world, but it feels more epic.
Yes.
So that scene when the Amazons are like, I'll bathe in your fear, and it's like, Amazons, show him your fear. We have no fear. Like that. Yeah, that for me, I geeked, like I lost my mind when I heard that, because it reminded me of like 300. I think another part that I really loved, I don't know, man, like there's so much stuff, like it for me it's little moments, so it's hard to say like this is my favorite part, but it's little moments. There's a moment when Wonder Woman is in the bank or a school or that place that she's saving the kids from, and it's not in a Whedon cut, but there's that part where she's being blasted with bullets, and just the way she's blocking those bullets.
Yes,
I love that.
That's for me. Yes,
It's that part. I don't know why you removed that. Same with the part where Flash is clearing the debris. It wasn't in the cut for Whedon. So for me, it's little moments like that I would say is my second favorite thing. Little moments that were removed, like the parademons going under the water to pull the Atlanteans out of the water. Instead of questioning them under the water, they come to pull them out. It's little things like that I'm just like, man, Zack is just, yeah, he's a madman. What I didn't like is that singing was nonsense, guys. That singing for Aquaman.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, so that singing. But that singing was nonsense. I also didn't like. I understand why he did it. The Joker and Batman at the end. I understand why he did it. He's like, look, if this is my last time, I'm never doing this. But I didn't like it. What would you like to see in terms of the future and what do you think is most likely to happen in terms of the future? If I can, like, okay, let me just start. I don't think Warner Brothers will ever call him back for the big screen movies. So that, I think that's dead in the water. Regardless of how much the fans go on, I don't think they're ever calling him back. But there might be a chance for him to do something on HBO Max. Maybe like a Deathstroke movie or even a Batman movie, even a movie with Batman, like the characters that are not tied to the big screen contracts, like Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa and I can't remember, and Ezra Miller. I don't think he can get those guys to do a series on HBO Max. But I think Ben Affleck is he's a big friend of Ben Affleck. So I think, and Jared Leto, I think would be willing, and the Deathstroke guy. So I think even Cyborg, because Cyborg, what Ray Fisher said, he never wants to work with those guys. So, but I think he can get those guys and work on a mini series set in that post-apocalypse.
We thought we would never get a cut, Snyder cut. So, but we got one. So for me, it's like it's up in the air. Like I can't say. I don't know how those guys at Warner Brothers are feeling. I don't know who's gonna get fired, what's gonna change. But then the other question to ask is, because we're saying he might not get any cinema stuff, and it would all be like streaming. But is that going to be the model moving forward for a lot of directors? So I don't know if it's just Zack Snyder or if like a lot of studios are focusing more on the streaming side. But that's besides the point.
If it does well and there's huge potential there, yeah, at the end of the day, it's money. Money talks. And if there's a demand for it, they'll make it happen. That's what I think.
I think there's no way WB loses this opportunity. It won't make any sense. The fans that Zack Snyder has, the studios know that there are people who follow that guy and will watch anything he makes. So when he makes his movies, he takes up the marketing aspect of it and the studios pay him for it.
Yeah, guys. So that was our Movie Gods podcast. If you like what you saw here, give us a like, share with your friends, and keep looking up for our stuff. See you next time.